So I have a story. So Out of Nowhere is on the way. Season 2 is on the way. But for the last 3 weeks, as I said in my announcement video a little while ago, I was on a road trip along the East Coast. I have a couple videos I'm going to put out about the trip itself, but I wanted to tell a story. So the last 4 or 5 days, we were staying near Miami, and something just happened out of the blue when we were sitting in our Airbnb one of those last few days. The Everglades went on fire. Part of a giant 33,000 acre section of an Everglades nature preserve. It was a big deal. Part of the highway was shut down for a little bit. And we were reading a couple articles about this fire, trying to track it down for the documentary, trying to figure out where we could see it, where we could film it. And we came across an article that was talking about climate change. The article said that this is sure to be a topic of discussion, given that the first presidential Democratic primary debates are in Miami this week. I had no idea, and neither did Sean, that the debates were going to be in Miami starting the day before I left. It was one of those one-off crazy coincidences that just sort of fell into place with this whole trip. And so we kind of looked at each other and we said, we gotta go. We went down to the arched, the center where they had the debates. And so we kind of circled outside the building for a little while. We, took in some of the interesting characters and, signs and messages that were going around the block. We saw, the trademark Jesus is your savior protester. But we were especially interested in this one organized protest where there were like union groups and climate change groups. None of this really matters right now. This is boring background information, but basically you have all of these people behind a guardrail, very liberal oriented groups. But while we were standing there, just deciding what to do really, because there was so much to take in, and this line, this like conga line almost of activists comes in over from the left of where we are looking out at the road at the center. But then I see a couple characters sort of against the fray coming in with this line of people. As they're approaching, I realize they're definitely not with these people. They're definitely mocking them. And as they walk over to me, clearly seeing my camera, there's really no other news crews or cameras like inside this guardrail area. So this little group walks over straight in front of my camera. So these guys with the megaphones, they see my camera. Yeah, they notice. And guess what? This guy's from InfoWars. And I take a few steps back and I realize that this group that walked by, they're sort of trying to block them because they see the camera there. And then as I look to my sides, I've got somebody screaming in my ear over here with a megaphone and another person from the other side. And I take a look around me and I realize I'm literally in the middle of this clash. So you know the Young Turks?
Hitler likes art, you like art, so you must be a Nazi.
We then realize that the two head personalities from the Young Turks are 20 feet away from us, organizing their own little rally. Young Turks fans, or people who are there organizing with them, start to form a wall and start to close them in. People just kind of standing with their hands clasped, just looking at them and trying to do this sort of non-violent blocking thing. But in the course of maybe 60 seconds, I was just thrown into this surreal moment where I'm in the middle of this clash, and right next to me are these huge controversial internet personalities in person without really a security detail. I felt like I was living inside a cable news channel, and it was it was just something. So the story isn't insane. There was no, violence. There was no, police presence or anything like that. But I just recreating that moment for me just puts me back into that overwhelmed, like excited situation. We walked away from that and got something to eat, got something to drink. We were sweating out of our minds because I don't know how people live in Florida. It's so humid. Again, we just did another lap. We're like, let's see what else we see when we go around again. Sometimes things align in a way that you just can't make up. So as we are walking around again, approaching this guardrail, all these people now are like flocking to it, to something. We can't really see what it is, and I'm not really paying attention either. We're just walking up. I have my camera on, and Sean says, "Bernie," and I was like, "Yeah, I see. Yeah, I got a shot of the Bernie signs." And he goes, "Bernie Sanders is right there."
Oh my goodness.
And I was just like, "What?" Again, we're right on the guardrail. There's tons of people, flocking up behind us, and we were just at the very edge of it. And about 10 feet down the line, Bernie Sanders, the U.S. Senator, the guy that's running for president, again, he's with like one or two security, a news camera, and that's about it. He's just up there shaking people's hands, saying hello, and I'm just desperately trying to get a shot of him. I'm like, I could not be closer, but I had a telephoto lens on my camera. It was zoomed in uncomfortably far, so I had to keep backing up to try and actually, I was trying to focus it. I was trying to, brighten it. I was just like scrambling to get something. I actually found this news clip of the camera that was following him, and you can see once he comes up the line, and I've got my uncomfortably close shot of Bernie's face. I start backing up, and you can see in the news camera he sort of almost pauses and looks in my lens for a second, like what the hell, man? Are you gonna shake my hand? And he shook Sean's hand. So that's on the news clip too. The next person who he went up to right after me was Sean. So that means that Sean and I were on the very end of the line, and Sean was the last one to shake his hand or to interact with him before he took off. It was just such a coincidence that it just occurred at the very moment that we were approaching the stand. Just weird is all I can say. So that ultimately really just solidified the tone for the whole night and the whole trip, that life is completely unpredictable, wild. So there's the story of how I met Bernie Sanders and started a counter-revolution with my camera. So I'll see you soon with Out of Nowhere Season 2 and more stories from the trip. Okay, see you later. Adios. Love you.